Hey, it's John. Welcome back to the show. Today I'm going to talk about my most recent music purchases. These purchases I made on Friday, August 15, 2025, at Joe Nardone's Gallery of Sound in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. More music for your money. I ordered a few of these in advance on their website, and a few of these I picked up at the store. But the first collection I'll be talking about, I picked up on Amazon. And this was a long time coming. ZZ Top, the complete studio albums 1970 to 1990. Why did I pick this up? Recently, I was watching Tim's Vinyl Confessions here on YouTube. If you've not checked out that channel, please give it a view, give it a check out. Tim does a great job. And I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. But they were talking about Darren and Tim were talking about their 10 favorite ZZ Top songs. And Tim was talking about how a lot of these songs he first heard on a ZZ Top six pack. The ZZ Top six pack was a collection of six CDs, their first five studio CDs, along with El Loco. They skipped Deguello or Deguello. And they re released these in a box set, but instead of keeping the original recordings, they put in those synthesizers and electronic drums that were very prominent on Eliminator and on Afterburner, those big albums from the 80s. And that's how I heard some of those releases myself. Tim said that on the show. I heard that. And then when I'd hear these songs on classic rock radio, I'm like, this isn't what I own, right? So I stopped listening to those CDs. I still have them in a box. And it was a long time coming before I finally picked this up. But then when I watched that show and put my top 10 favorite songs by ZZ Top in the comments, I was like, this is cheap as sin on Amazon. I'm just going to pick this up. And normally I'm more of a local music guy, local music store, local businesses. I'm really big into that. But once in a while, you just have a great deal on Amazon. So I picked this up from Amazon. This has the first 10 studio albums, ZZ Top's first album, Rio Grande Mud, Tres Hombres Fandango, which was half live, half studio, Tejas, Deguello, El Loco, Eliminator, Afterburner, and Recycler. As I mentioned, I had the ZZ Top six pack, but I also had CD copies of originals of Deguello, Eliminator. I had Afterburner. I'm not a fan of Afterburner. I got rid of it. Well, okay, I like half of it. And I still have Recycler on cassette, but it's nice to finally have these in their original form on CD. And I've been checking these out as I go along. And right now I'm on Tres Hombres. It's like hooking up with an old friend listening to some of this stuff. So this is what I picked up on Amazon recently. Now, as for what I got at Gallery of Sound, here is the black bag that you give or you get when you pick up a lot of stuff, which is usually the way John Alapic does things. So let's start with the first one, which is a box set. Eric Robertson. We were talking about this in comments recently because I know you love this band a lot more than I do. But it was a long time coming that I finally heard, and now happy to say have these albums. Metal Church. This is a 5 CD box set, reforged the remastered collection, 1999 through 2013. Metal Church was a band I got into heavy early, and then as my musical taste changed, I wasn't listening to Metal Church anymore. And if I did, I go back to the original first four albums. This collection has Masterpiece from 1999, which I believe was the last studio album with David Wayne on lead vocals. We have Weight of the World, A Light in the Dark, This Present Wasteland, and Generation Nothing. I believe Ronnie Monroe was the vocalist on all of these other albums. So I'm really looking forward to hearing this. This just came out on Friday, August 15, 2025. So we got remastered versions of these CDs in this nice box. They're in there nice and tight. And we do have jewel cases, just to let you know. I'll just pull out one here. This is Masterpiece. And we do have jewel cases for these all. And we have the CDs have been redone. We still have that classic Metal Church logo on here. Let me just see if we got any. Oh, we got lyrics on here too. We have lyrics in these tracks. So in the booklets for each CD, which is very, very cool. You gotta love that. So I'm really looking forward to hearing these albums for the first time. And I've been told maybe they're not as good, but I'll be the judge of that. I'm sure there's going to be songs on all these albums that I really, really enjoy. So I picked this up, and this is a brand new archival release, you can say, even though these albums were originally released from 1999 through 2013. Here it is, Metal Church. Reforged, a remastered collection, 1999 to 2013. Let's see what else I have in the bag. Just to let you know, I went a little heavier this time. Okay, this I bought used. Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, American Dream. I bought this on cassette when this came out. I bought this today, on Friday, on CD. I never owned a CD copy of this. This was the last one I needed to have all the original Crosby, Stills, Nash, or Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young CDs. Perhaps there'll be an album ranking down the road. There will be. But I wanted to make sure I had this on CD and revisit the album. This was an album I've always thought half of it was pretty good and half of it was okay. I was not as big into the Graham Nash songs on here, although I've really fallen in love with the songs on the earlier albums that he did with CSN. But it's going to be nice to revisit this album and hopefully talk about it more in depth into the future. What's next? Oh, speaking of ZZ Top, I also found this used at Gallery of Sound. Antenna I've never owned. I remember Pincushion and Fuzzbox Voodoo being played on Rock 107 WEZX FM, home of rock and roll, still locally owned and operated in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Never heard the rest of the album, but now I finally have a copy of it on CD. So it'll be nice to get into that. And I have nearly all the ZZ Tops now. I'm just missing a couple of the later albums. Maybe there'll be a ranking on them down, but we'll see. Okay, now this is one of the ones that I ordered. I love the Talking Heads, but I don't have all their albums. This is their biggest selling album, Little Creatures from 1985. Now, by this point, it was pretty much David Byrne's band. Before, it was a band and the whole was greater than the sum of its parts. Here, David Byrne really took control. This is the most popular, maybe not the most popular artistically, but commercially, it's their biggest album. I believe this went double platinum in the United States. And she was Stay Up Late and Road to Nowhere, had videos. They got played heavy on MTV, but they got played heavy on Rock 107 and other great rock stations in the area, and some top 40 airplay. I know those three songs I mentioned did not become top 40 hit singles in the United States, but there's a lot of great songs on here. I've heard this album, excuse me, but it's been a long time, so it'll be a lot of fun getting back into this one again. Only one I need now is True Stories, and I have the whole collection. Could not be an album ranking. I'll tell you straight out, Remain in Light is my favorite Talking Heads album. I do that show. Remain in Light's going to probably be my number one, just to let you know. Okay, what we got next is, So when I went into Gallery of Sound, as soon as I walked in, they had this big display just dedicated to Ozzy Osbourne. And it had Ozzy solo albums and Black Sabbath albums there in this display. And I'm thinking, I had an album in mind. And I was wondering if they had it. And they had it. I finally own 13. And it's the one with 2 discs and the 4 extra songs. I've heard this album. At this moment, I can tell you, I'm not a fan of this album. I recently talked about this on the Contrarians when we did an album war between Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die. And I talked about Technical Ecstasy. And one of the things I said was at least it's better than 13. Well, let's see if I still feel that way after revisiting this album. I've never owned it, heard it. To me, it was always Sabbath trying to sound like Sabbath. Maybe I'll have a change of heart after listening to this. Age of Reason and the beginning, those songs I quite like a lot. Some of the others I'm not so high on. But again, we may hear these albums differently after several years. So I'm looking forward to getting back into, well, actually getting into this one because I only heard a few times and I wasn't into it. Like, I'm going to give it another shot now that I own it. And fortunately, it was 50% off. So 2-disc edition was normally $20. Now it was 10 there. Speaking of Black Sabbath, I ordered this in advance. The Eternal Idol from 1987. Now, I owned this on cassette as an original album. A few years later, I was in my 20s. I was getting rid of some of my cassettes, some of my CDs. Some of them were metal bands. And I gave this one away to somebody. I think I know who has it. I haven't seen him in a while, but my friend Joey Sitar didn't throw too much out. I'm gathering he may still have this. I'm thinking that's who I gave it to. Why did I pick this up? Well, this just got remastered for another release, and it came out on August 8th here in the States. And I was watching a YouTube channel, Now Spinning with Phil Aston. Channel I really enjoy. I love his analysis. I love his positivity. Music is the healer and the doctor. No truer words have ever been spoken. That's his mantra. But he talked about this album and he said, if you compare this to the 2010 release, it's like night and day. The sound on this is, according to Phil, who really knows his stuff, exquisite. I'm looking forward to hearing these now. And I liked this album back in the day. I was just listening to different stuff. When you're in your 20s, sometimes you're getting rid of, well, I know I gave this away, but I know I was selling some of my CDs back then. In your 20s, you're broke. Sometimes you just need money and you'll just sell a few CDs. And back then you can get more. Now you can't get crap for a CD when you sell it. But back then you can get a few bucks each. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to checking out the Eternal Idol again. Always liked it. I'm gathering I'm gonna love it now. So, okay, there's only one left. And this one has a story. This is Willie Nile's latest album, The Great Yellow Light. Who's Willie Nile? Willie Nile is like more of a looser, more punk Bruce Springsteen. I knew of him until about 2018. And at the time, one of my best friends was Jack Guastamacchio. Jack watched a lot of these shows. Jack is no longer with us. He introduced me to Willie Nile. And he made me go out and buy the first 3 albums that were on a collection on Amazon. And it was like a 2-disc version of the first 3 albums. And it was really reasonable. And it was to the point where he was texting me every day, John, did you buy it yet? Did you buy it yet? Eventually, I'm like, all right, I'll buy it. And as always, he was spot on. He told me I'd love Willie Nile's music. He was right. And since then, I've picked up most of his albums. I've seen him live 3 times. Great live. He's 77 years old. He still brings it, still a lot of energy. Great storyteller, fantastic band, great songwriter. That's the most important thing. So I did not know this was out when I went into the store because he's been putting stuff out. Like it was Willie Niles' career. He put two albums out really fast. He had issues with his record company. He didn't put out another album for 10 years. Then he didn't put out another album for like 9 or 10 years. And then after that, he's been pretty active. He's been putting albums out every 2, 3 years or so. I have his last several. I'm really looking forward to checking out The Great Yellow Light. And Jack, thank you so much for introducing me to Willie Niles music. He introduced me to so much music. He knew more about punk music than I know about music, and I think I know my stuff, but I I felt like I didn't know squat after I met Jack, and then we became really good friends. But yeah, Jack was a good friend. He drove me crazy sometimes, but he really knew his shit. So, but maybe one day I'll do a show about Jack and talk about all the stuff he got me into and a little bit that I got him into, but he got me into Willie Niles. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking this album out. So these are my latest music purchases. What have you been purchasing lately? Whether it's on CD, whether it's on vinyl, whether you're buying them new or used, or maybe you're buying cassettes. I know they've been making a comeback. Or have you just been streaming a lot lately? What have you been checking out? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the show. Plenty more to come. Do what you love, and I'll talk to you soon.